at Best Buy. So this guy is just rattling off a bunch of jargon about shit that I don't even know or care about. Okay? So this is really funny that I experienced this. Anyway, this guy's like rattling on and on. I'm like, oh, okay, I walk out of the store. Okay? Okay, I came back later because I had to come back because I had to pick up my laptop. And when I came back, a different guy explained to me, you know, what I needed. And it was at that time that I bought. Now, he didn't explain to me what I needed through trying to give me mass information. He explained according to what I needed. He asked me, well, what are you trying to do? And he said, well, are you going to travel with this? Are you going to be using it as, you know, your main computer for all of your online, I don't remember exactly, but he actually qualified me. He wanted to find out about me so that he could best put a product in my hand rather than just talking a bunch of computer jargon. So the guy who was speaking a lot of computer jargon, he didn't get a sale with me. And, you know, I don't think that the guy who was speaking that jargon had more or less product information than the guy who actually broke it down and said, hey, you know what, I want to sell you the right product. How do you use it? He found out about what my usages would be, and he continued. He's a great salesperson. The other guy, he's packed with a lot of knowledge, but knowledge that didn't help me. So, I mean, so product doesn't trump human relationship. If it did, then I would just take our services and I'd put it online with a ton of information. Realize that marketing has changed a great deal. People don't, do you guys notice, people don't really read all the information on the site, do they? Because if they did, then there'd be no need for you guys, really. They'd read all the information, and they'd put their Visa or MasterCard online, and there'd be no, exactly. And oftentimes customers will close themselves, but they need that human element, that relational element. So that's the other part. It's good stuff right there. Remember the rule, always agree. Always agree with your customer. Does it mean that they're right? No, but from their perspective, that's what they believe, so let them, whatever, okay? Right? If they believe that, for instance, Rosanna, if a customer calls in and they say, you guys effed this up, you screwed it up, I'm sick and tired, what are you going to say?
Sorry.
You're going to say, I agree with you, or, okay, I understand what you're saying here, accept the fact that they believe that you suck or that we sucked, and then tell them, I'm going to go through and find a solution for you.
Right.
So you can admit to whatever, if they're pissed off or whatever, admit to it, and then find a solution, and then they'll be your biggest fan again. Instead of trying to argue that it's their fault. Well, it's your fault, you dummy, that you don't have the right browser. Okay? Then they're going to be even more pissed off, right? And they're going to focus on their pissed off attitude. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to manipulate at all. We're just trying to help people get what they're looking for. There are several questions that you would use to help you determine whether you're working with a prospect. Now, everybody that you've spoken with has been a buyer at some point. Don't treat them like anything other than that. When you ask a guy how much money you're working with, you're cheating. Okay? Your customer's not working with any money until they know what kind of value that they're getting, right? And then who knows what kind of financing you can get them, you know, get available for them. So don't talk about that. Rather, find out whether your customer is a prospect or a suspect. Some money prospect questions are, you know, I mean, in order here, I'd say, you know, how long have you been in business? Oh, I've been in business for 2 weeks. Okay, great. So do you have any contracts yet in the 2 weeks? I've got one. Okay, great. Right now, based on that information, what do you know about this customer? Is he a prospect or a suspect? Can you even determine it yet? Can't even determine it yet. Why? Because you haven't asked another question, you know. Do you have a regular job? Do you have a place that you work right now? Yeah, I work as an engineer for AIG. Oh, great. Tell me what your goals are. You see how you can start to determine a little more. If you're an engineer for AIG, he's got some money. Okay? Right? Most likely. Okay? So at this point, I would actually say, this guy's a prospect. I'm working him as a prospect. He's a decision maker in his company. He's the sole financial decision maker. He doesn't have a partner. I found a lot of information. Now, if I determine that this guy seems like a suspect, even based on these 3 questions, That, and only at that time, is when I would ask them something like, surely you've set some money aside to invest in your business. Would that be an accurate statement? Yeah, I've set money aside. Okay, great. Okay? And leave it at that, because you're cheating. You're trying to shortcut. If you're trying to ask this question, you're trying to shortcut, and that doesn't work. This equals shortcut, and this is bad. Okay? When you ask a customer what you're working with, well, I'm working with 2 pennies, man. Rub them together. You know, I don't know anything about your or the products or services you're offering me, so really I don't have any money. Okay, so that's treating them like a, well, it's not treating them like a buyer. See, if you're thinking about your customer and you care about what your customer's goals are, then regardless of whether you think the guy's only got $500 or not, help him. Help him dream bigger, and then you can come up with a solution if he does only have $1,000 to put down. Well, here's the solution. You won't get $250,000, but I can get you started with at least $32,000, move you up in the next couple of months. How does that sound? Doesn't that sound a lot better than shortcutting right to a basic program? So I want you guys to think about that. It's very, very important not to shortcut, because that is not a customer service to your people.